So I gotta say, I've kept this to myself because this is one of the things, even in today's age, maybe even because of today's age, because it's weird. When something is rare, it's a conspiracy theory because it's not possible. When something is out there and known, it's considered a conspiracy theory because it's like somebody's trying to make themselves look special by having contact with this thing. Today's age, it's sonic weapons, sound weapons. um, what feeds into the conspiratorial nature of this is the whole Venezuela thing. So it's like, oh, now anybody that says they're using sonar weapons can be portrayed as if they're an egoist who thinks that they're like a Maduro who's being hunted down by powerful, corrupt, evil, despicable human pieces of shit in the U.S. military that obey. They have proven they do not have the human adult male capacity to understand the difference between the oaths that they make and the actions that they take. Because their obedience to Trump is a violation of their oath to us. And the fact that they can't see that proves that us spending money on them outside of their service in the military. Look at how much money we have to spend to turn them into something useful in the military. And then when they get out of the military, they want us, they claim that they did that as a sacrifice and we paid them for it. Then they claim that they want us to take care of them like children and give them welfare for the rest of their life because we already invested so much money into turning them into a capable person that's able to function in an organization, which means a job. And any psychological ramifications that they might suffer, the truth of the matter is, in a world of freedom of religion, that's what religion is for. If you choose the wrong religion, you're stupid. If you have a religion that does not facilitate the therapeutic rights to help with actual human experiences like trauma and PTSD, whatever you want to call it, and human loss, then you are stupid and you made that choice. And in the realm of reality, you chose the path of suffering. And anybody trying to get you off of your path is crazy, because if it's your path, it's your life. And if it's your life in your eyes, you would rather die on that path than have some idiot like me come along and be like, oh, did you know that that path is leading you to a sudden doom 5 steps ahead? And if you come over here, I mean, you'll have 7 steps. And maybe in those 2 steps, you can find some more. And oh, no, but I know. But see, the 7, how do I know there's 7? How do I know there's, I know there's 5 right here. I'm going to go to some weird shit like that they consider intellect or devotion. Yeah, but the fact that I know that there's only 5 left goes to show that I'm stronger than you, because I'm willing to go to the 5 and you're still desperately begging for more. That kind of stuff. Anyway, so my whole point is, the reason I'm getting into all this is because with the videos that I made yesterday and the last couple days in particular. So my neighbors that live down here, this is their car. That's one car, and that's the white car across the street. The gray car is the guy. They're both welfare recipients. They're both immigrants, not born in this country. They're both white. They both claim to be Christian. The one that has a white car, hilarious enough, he even has a fucking Russian tattoo of that the Mexicans copied, the spider web on the elbow, which is literally, I am caught up in the web of organized crime. And in the Russian realm, which these guys are the Armenian faction of the Russian mob, you don't get out of that shit. So when you get the tattoo, it's not like the Mexican thing where you could say like, oh, well, my mom wants me to come home. In the Russian thing, they don't play that. It's for life, and exiting isn't you die in their world. That's not how they maintain order. Exiting from their system is they kill. This is the legend that Hollywood has been pumping out. And you gotta understand, it's funny that the way Hollywood has been pumping out qualities of the Russian mafia to make them ominous and massive and big and scary has also coupled with the rise of actual members of the Russian mob in the United States, making connections with people in the economy and being able to extract money from the 4th biggest economy on the planet. which is California, not the United States. California. And the epicenter of California's money is Los Angeles. So the heart of the fourth biggest economy on the planet that pushed Japan and the UK out in the last few years is California. And the heart of that is Los Angeles. So during that time, Hollywood movies have produced John Wick and all this kind of stuff. You guys don't see the commercials. They've been promoting how it's cool to have the Russian mob around your proximity. And who is in Hollywood that controls Hollywood, pumping out all these Russian movies, pro-Russian mafia movies that now make Russian mafia look cool. So that the American citizen, you don't understand how organized crime works. Now, how did it work for the Italian mafia? It made the Italian mafia a cultural American phenomenon in which the American population identified more with the Italian mafia than they did with their own identity, cultural identity. Okay? So the Russian media, the Hollywood media has basically been co-opted or contracted. I mean, all they need to do is be paid. They're very honest about that. If you pay us a fair share, we'll do a fair work. And if you pay us to make you, the Russian mob, look good in Hollywood movies, we will do that in Hollywood movies. And they've done that in Hollywood movies. Even if you understand that the Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson, who is a massive, hardcore Nazi Zionist, pro-genocide, psychopathic demon, okay? She's crazy beautiful, but she is a demonic demon of epic fucking genocidal, murderous, bloodthirsty, racist, hate fucking doll, okay? So that bitch's character in the movie where they're trying to make you understand how advertising works. They're trying to make the Russian mob look bad. How? By making the Russian mob pose a threat to the highest order of the clandestine American government, which is, what is the thing? SHIELD, okay? So that's advertising. If I can't be friends with the Avenger, at least I could be friends with a super villain participant who is in something that even the Avengers have to coordinate in order to address. Something along that kind of lines. So anyways, all that to say is these guys moved in. This is a long video for this rant. This is very good success. These guys moved in about 8 months ago now. They had what I would consider heavy equipment on their step, which I already knew what was going to happen. When the old man died down there, as a Chinese guy, when he died, I knew that the Armenian was going to rent it, because they did this with the next door neighbors, and they stole 3 packages when they moved in. So I knew that the next neighbors were going to be more ghetto, because Armenian organized crime wants to threaten me and make me move out of a place in America so that they can continue to operate in Burbank without any picking little flea or mosquito bugging them. So these guys move in and they are literally fucking homeless Armenians that live on welfare. I'm not fucking kidding. So this is what I've been documenting. And they bring in their heavy equipment, which is like air ventilation stuff. I don't know how to say it. So the presentation that I could say, because they're disgusting pigs, they never leave their house. When they first came, this is very important. When they first came here, and I tried to ignore them, I was like telling myself, Tim, don't be crazy. At least give them 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Before you, because they moved in, I was like, saw them, and I was like, okay, this is it. But I try to give myself some, because the overreaction can put me in jeopardy. So I have to have, my life is, if I put myself in the wrong situation, I die. So, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong. In fact, if I'm wrong and I'm just talking shit about the Russian mob, which is operating in Los Angeles and is very known, that makes me more of a threat just because I'm being sensational. Oh, my coffee. But if I'm right, then they need to kill me so that they can maintain operations without any scrutiny. Technically, oversight. So, I was gonna give them some time, and then I saw they're talking with the landlord one day when I was coming home from work, and they had that freaking air ventilation type system. It's huge. It's big. It's like, okay, I'm standing right next to my fridge while I'm pouring my coffee. That fucking machine is literally the size of my refrigerator, not my freezer. So I'm gonna show you right now. So that is my fridge. That's how big their air vent. And the landlord was talking to him, and they're pointing, and I was like, okay, so I already saw it. So they're gonna do something. Now, air ventilation for me has to do with fentanyl manufacturing. And well, the first thing I saw was, okay, these guys probably participate in fentanyl manufacturing at some degree, at some point. But they're not gonna do it here because of me. That's a different thing. But that doesn't mean they can't use the equipment for different purposes. What purpose? Well, heavy equipment with again, this is a welfare recipient immigrant who's never worked in this country and gets 100% medical benefits, car, housing, and electrical equipment that he then uses to run shit to attack me. And they have ran it every fucking day. I've had different techniques that I've used to counter it. Like I have a subwoofer that I download red noise, 8-hour videos, 10-hour videos, and put them in audio only, put them on my phone, hook them up to the subwoofer, cover them with a plastic trash can, and put them in the room in which I have identified the machinery in. And then turn it on deep bass so that I have some control over the hum. This is I don't know if it really works or not, because the catch with noise weapons is that they create physical effects. So countering the physical effects is the reason they're used is because it's not impossible, but it is virtually impossible for somebody to counter mentally sonic weapons by definition, by way of design. So, but that's different levels of weapons too. So there's penetrating weapons, and then there's, well, all sound weapons penetrate because we're water. And if it affects me, it has to affect them too. So that's another, well, not necessarily, because I don't know how the radars, I don't know what the setup is down there, that they got down there. But my whole point is this. This is the first morning. Quiet. Nothing. In 8 months. And this is when I'm now tracking, I'm getting aggressive. I am ready because I understand there's only 2 chances that I have in this situation for any change. One is I die, and I cross my fingers that some type of investigate. Life is life. You don't really get to write a movie. You just get to have some hopeful outcomes. So the best chance that can come out of me being killed in this situation would be a non-Burbank, non-Glendale, non-LA PD, non-MAGA, non-Fraternal Order of Police affiliated law enforcement agency investigate my death. Because if it stays local, Burbank PD and LAPD will definitely put the situation in light that protects Armenian organized crime and makes the American citizen look like the criminal. And all the good, rich Armenian or Russian mob members, like poor innocent victims of poverty's jealous, envious incompetence. So so I look at it as a victory, and I see that as fear. That's what I see it as, fear. I see For the first time, they're actually scared for their lives because they're doing stuff different. Like I said, I cut the power. I didn't really cut the power. They were using my extension cord in the garage to run their chop shop, illegal chop shop. Again, protected under the ARAM, A-R-A-M, Gukasyan, Gukasyan, is the American fucking Armenian landlord who has brought in two fucking, the ones across from me are just as bad. They are 100% welfare fraud recipients. They're worse than these ones. These ones are just the minions. They steal bikes, electric bikes. They steal from construction companies, the copper wire. They strip all that shit. They were stripping all that shit for this whole time in the garage that is right next to my garage. It has a drywall, two-ply drywall, 2x4 partial wall made in between the slots in the 4-car garage. That has 4 doors. So each one is modified to be individual. So theirs is right next to mine. For 8 months, they've been cutting shit up illegally there. I lost my job in Christmas and decided to relax. I'm not going to do anything till my birthday. I call it the Great Relaxathon 2026. But these guys kept annoying the fucking shit out of me. Like they got free reign. So I just wanted to lay in my fucking hammock and watch content till my birthday. For what next time? Like a month and a half. Absolute nothing. And they wouldn't let it because they thought that they saw it as a sign of weakness and reclusiveness. Like I lost my job and it was shameful or something like that. It was a relief. And I left that job with an additional, no less than an additional $40,000 in cash that cushioned my lifestyle. So fuck MAGA businesses. If you work for a MAGA business, do what I did. Fuck them. Every chance you get. I was trying to hurt them physically too. I just couldn't come up with a clever enough way to do it and still work in their face. Because that's the sociopath. If you can figure that shit out, hurt MAGA every chance you get. Because MAGA protects these guys. Again, MAGA cops are the only reason these guys are in Burbank. You don't get it. I don't even like Democrats, but the truth of the matter is, because Democrats' sense of job is not loyalty to a group, but to the actual action that they're being asked to do, that's why they're not wanted in the military. Because that's the difference between the parties. That's why Trump's base is Trump's base. And that's why Trump's base is so deeply rooted in the military too. That's how fucking stupid. And you gotta understand the disgusting type of a man that is given a gun by a fucking government who then idolizes somebody like Trump. You see what our money went into? Turning that person into? So, anyways, these guys got on my nerves. And finally, I was like, all right, that's it. I went out and I reset up my security parameters. My cameras. I got a moving camera. I bought a $60 camera. It's cheap. That's why I bought it. $60. I couldn't believe it. And it moved on a swivel. And I was like, and I haven't even used it. So I put that on an automatic swivel so it's checking all 3 directions in one part of the property, the front, the side, and their window. And then I got one on my patio that goes right out the window that they like to hang out. I readjusted it 3 times so that I can make sure I get an angle of them underneath my patio, which is one of the windows of the organized crime members where they like to talk. They don't sell drugs there, which is really weird. But they're looking for work, because you gotta understand, this is like a homeless crew of all immigrant criminals, all white Christian immigrant criminals. And then in my garage, and I put one up in my garage. And so when I was working out in my garage, a couple times people left out their closet doors with mirrors, the big sliding door mirrors, and they're really heavy. And they're right around this area, so I would just take them and put them in my garage so that I could have mirrors, because I worked out there. I do like MMA type training and stuff like that, and calisthenics, no weightlifting, and then and some kind of like a variation of like the Indian club type exercises. So then so I got these mirrors. So what these guys did is, what really pissed me off was when they used my cord in the garage and they pulled it to have access to it, they moved the camera in my garage and altered its vision. And like I said, I ignored it at first because like, look, I'm not gonna care. But then, like, what is it, like 8 days ago? I was like, all right, this is fucking. In one sense, you gotta let them dig themselves deeper. So don't overreact immediately, because if they do something, they're doing it because they want to do something. If they want to do something, then that means they think that they're protected. And again, if you're gonna exploit their stupidity, you have to feed it. Okay, so you build up, you make them get a routine. Their lives, I'm talking about like 8 to 12 people's lives, are dependent on that garage making money on top of their welfare. I cut that off of all of them. Dave Chappelle says somebody threatened him that was doing a full Monty or some kind of Monty game, card game, and he got tricked, and he saw how he tricked them, and then he confronted him and said, "You guys all work together." And the guy said, "Don't ever mess with somebody's money." And Dave Chappelle's like, "Oh, I learned a lesson." Well, the guy just stole money from him. What lesson did he learn? Dave Chappelle, the little bitch, took the lesson like, "Oh, well, it's okay for you to steal from me to make a living, but it's wrong for the person that you stole from to expose that you're stealing money from people as a living." That was his lesson that he took out of that shit. So just so you know, he's a funny guy because he's stupid as fuck too. He's a cute boy that never grew up and never can grow up, and it's gonna be a boy. And a white world loves that kind of a boy. Perfect boy. So I cut their money for supply out first. And they have been in a and I became more proactive because I just wanted to lay my hand. Now I gotta go downstairs every day with a fucking weapon, obvious, with the look to say I'm waiting for any interaction whatsoever on the property so that I can engage in violence with the hope of killing somebody, so that a criminal case will be filed that gets out of Burbank. That's it. LA is not the safest place, but I have a 1% chance in LA. I have a 0% chance in Burbank because the municipal government of Burbank is the Armenian faction of the Russian mob. So self-preservation is 100% of the operation, just like in Glendale. So I don't have 1% of the chance because every structure of the system owes their allegiance not to the United States but to the Armenian faction of the Russian mob. So now that would put me in a situation where I have to make bail if they arrest me in the first place, and that's a whole nother kind of worms, if you want to call it that. But the other one is that I get killed here, and they and that just gets away, they bear it away, because people get killed in Burbank and you don't know about it. They let you know about it when they want to promote, advertise. But Armenians kill Armenians because organized crime is crime. I mean, they are criminals. And shit does happen in Burbank that doesn't get out of Burbank because of the control. And I just gotta say, one of the key elements to show you how corrupt, and you guys don't get the significance of these little details. The fact that Glendale and Burbank in California ban the municipalities, the Armenian organized crime municipalities ban weed shops in their cities, goes to show you that they're trying to prevent American citizens from having access to the California economy and having the right to make a profit in competition with an inferior business arrangement, enterprise, which is the Armenian organized crime. Because it's inferior, because it fucking sucks, because anybody that wants to have a successful business doesn't want to be involved in that shit. And another example too is the closest a weed shop ever got to Burbank was 2 stores away from the border with North Hollywood on Magnolia. It was a corner shop. Actually, I think the corner shop was a 2 stores. The corner shop was a playground of a preschool that was the next location, like liquor store fronts, and then next to that was a store that was converted into a weed shop. On the other side of the corner was Burbank, but the preschool was on North Hollywood, because that American white person saw there was nothing in Burbank and thought capitalist, I'm going to make a business to generate money, no biggie, and put it right on the border of Burbank in order to try to live as a capitalist. And what happened? Within 2 months, 3 armed robberies, including one with 2 men with assault rifles, into that place. Okay? Each time, guess who were the first police to respond? The Burbank. And guess, they only caught one guy, and that guy they caught because he was a dope fiend. You can understand how many robberies don't happen in weed shops? One weed shop, 3 times, all armed within 2 months. The guy had a friend that lived right there, so he was the one that kept him posted. He lived 2 blocks away from it, and it's a really rich neighborhood, so it was a very striking event. And the guy that they caught was a homeless black guy that had a pistol that rather than run out of the store when he tried to rob it, he ran up on the roof and then climbed onto the preschool and was hiding out on the preschool roof when the North Hollywood police showed up to get him. So nobody ever made that, but because Burbank gets it, nobody ever makes the connection to Armenian organized crime. So these guys are scared that they're gonna die. The landlord, again, Aram Gukasian, who's been in this country for decades, who has the right in this country, who's earned the opportunity to own properties and be a landlord, okay? You gotta understand, he is picking these people out of organized crime to target me. I pay my rent, I don't talk to him. I helped him. That fool was really fucking old as fuck. I'm polite to him. I'm quiet. I don't stink, and I don't do crime. But he's bringing in crime to saturate my environment with crime so that they can stake their claim on their territory in the United States. And I have a different opinion. And even though I stand alone because no American entity, not even an individual, supports me, like they got an entire race of Armenians supporting them in this country, an entire demographic. 2 demographics. You want to count the immigrant ones and the fucking natural, or the actually born one, the ones that were born here that still are more, they have no allegiance to the United States. So they got that, plus their minions like MAGA. I got nothing, but you know what? I'll put it like this. I don't like to say this, but that's all it takes is one real American to strike fucking the fear of God into the fucking savage, brutal, sadistic, demonic fucking minions of hell that want to make America a legend, a myth. I live it.